Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join me this afternoon for our Sunday afternoon organ and piano concert. I had hoped to be doing these more regularly, but just one thing or another kind of keeps getting in the way, and so I've not been able to jump on as frequently. First of all, if you're watching on YouTube, if you would go ahead and like this video, that just helps kind of get me out there, a little more exposure. The more likes a video has, typically YouTube tends to promote it a bit more. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and share this video, if you don't mind, on your own timeline, because then that'll allow people that are your friends to participate in this video. My videos are public, so to speak, but obviously the more people that share the stream, the greater the audience and, the greater the exposure. So those two things would be, awesome if you could do that. But let's delve back into the music. So this afternoon, I'm going to be presenting basically hymn tune arrangements and a couple of original compositions sprinkled in. So that first one that we opened with, of course, probably needs no introduction. That is, of course, Joyful, Joyful, We Adore Thee. The melody itself comes from Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, the final movement, which is actually called Ode to Joy. The text, though, that we sing to this hymn was written in the 1900s, and basically the author or the poet wrote it specifically with the Ode to Joy melody in mind. What a great just hymn of praise, and I thought a great way to open up our program this afternoon. So as I mentioned, be a little bit of organ, a little bit of piano. It's going to be a little bit on the shorter side. I'll just go ahead and kind of preface that now. And that's kind of for a couple of reasons. One of them is I'm very excited to announce that I'm going to be giving an in-person concert at the end of next month. So at the end of August, I'll publish the date at the end of this video, but at the end of August, I'm going to be giving an in-person concert. If you're in the Central Florida area, that's going to be at Central Baptist Church. And again, I'll kind of give you those details at the end of this concert. But because of that, I kind of wanted to save a little bit of excitement, as it were. So I'll be presenting some things here today, and then you'll have to come in person, or if you are not in the Central Florida area, you can tune back in. We will be streaming that concert actually live on that day. If you're new, just kind of a little bit of a spoiler alert as well. I don't truly do these concerts live, just for a couple of logistical reasons. One is 5 and the other's 4. I'll let you kind of infer what you will on that. So, but because of that, it makes more sense to kind of pre-record these, to kind of help them flow a little smoother, and so that you don't have the occasional crying preschooler in between. So anyway, we're going to move on now, and we're going to go to another hymn tune, but this one's a little more quieter in nature. If you've attended my programs, you know I tend to like to, if I play something loud to begin with, I like to contrast that usually with something softer. So this is a wonderful, timeless hymn again. It's In the Garden. And in this arrangement, this is actually a new arrangement. It's one of my newest arrangements, as a matter of fact. I only finished it about a month ago. But this arrangement begins with the chimes. I thought kind of an interesting solo choice, but I love the sound of church bells. And so as sort of an homage to days gone by, we'll hear the melody first presented in just a solo chime voice, so just the single bell ringing out. And then the strings come in on the chorus, and he walks with me. The strings come in very softly while that bell continues to sing out or chime out that melody. And then in the second iteration, we hear just from the string section of the organ. And then on that chorus, we change keys there for that chorus and have a little more of a fuller, what we call principal chorus, or basically kind of a full organ for that second chorus. And then at the end, we kind of pull it back a bit and we quote the chime at the very last line. So hope you enjoyed. It was a lot of fun to write and work on, and a lot of fun to play. So here is now In the Garden. So now we're going to move to the piano for 2 selections, and then we'll come back to the organ to kind of close things out. So as we go to the piano now, here are where our 2 original compositions or selections come in. So these aren't based in any sort of hymn tune at all. These are just original works that, that I've written. The first one actually I wrote a little while back. I put out a piano album and a little commercial for that, but this is just a nice work, and I haven't, to be honest, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to play for the program, and I realized I've not played this particular work in quite a long time. In fact, not because it isn't good, but just I haven't had an occasion to do that. And so, anyway, I thought it would make a great addition, and it's completely different from anything we've heard so far. This is called Nocturne, and it's written in the minor key. It's what I was going for basically was kind of the romantic, impressionistic style of music. I'm a big fan of composers like Beethoven and Debussy. Beethoven technically started classical, was in the classical era, and then kind of his later works kind of morphed into what we know as the Romantic era. So I've always been a big fan of the Romantic era of music. That's kind of my favorite genre, if you will. So this is kind of my sort of meager attempts at kind of a tip of the hat, if you will, to that style of music. So this work begins in C minor, and so it's kind of dark, and it's designed to kind of evoke the picture of like a moonlit night, probably a cloudless moonlit night, if you will. But so very kind of gentle melody in that minor key. And then in the middle, I go to the major key. I go basically to E flat major, so kind of the relative, if you will, of C minor. And so E flat major, excuse me, it opens up, gets very full. We push the tempo ahead a bit, and then that section kind of goes back into that C minor section to sort of close out the work. And we kind of go up and down with the dynamics throughout, and then ultimately we end the work with kind of a sort of a single melodic idea. Basically the accompaniment, if you will, that opens the work is what also closed the work. So it kind of ties it around full circle. So anyway, here is Nocturne. This next work is a little shorter. It's certainly shorter than the Nocturne we just heard, but it's also one I wrote relatively recently, as a matter of fact. It is an original composition, and I'm a church musician. If you're kind of catching this stream and you don't know a whole lot about me, I'm actually a church musician. I'm employed by a church in this area, and so I play the organ more often than not, but occasionally I play the piano for the church as well. And so about a month ago, I had the opportunity to fill in as the worship leader, song leader for this church. And one of the things that we typically do at our church is we have music underneath our pastor's prayer time. And so the music minister normally plays the guitar, and I'm not a guitar player, so I decided to kind of write something short for our church pianist to play underneath the pastor's prayer. And it turned out really nice, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun to share that here. So like I said, not as long of a work as the other, but you know, about 2-ish minutes. So it's long enough that it qualifies for a concert piece. So this work is titled, "O Lord, Hear Our Prayer." Now we come to the end of the program. We're going to go back to the organ for this final selection. But a little bit of what I would call sort of housekeeping items, few sort of announcements in closing. Again, thank you very much, first of all, for making time to come and listen to my short program. As I mentioned at the top, the reason it's a little shorter is because I'm sort of trying to tease out this idea that I'm going to be doing a longer in-person concert at the end of August. And that information will be flashing up on the screen, date and time. So end of August, that's going to be at Central Baptist Church, so you want to check that out. If you can't be there in person, I will be streaming that concert live to Facebook and YouTube. So check out those places for that. That'll be a lot of fun, so you won't want to miss out on that. And then a couple other things here upcoming. I mentioned in a video announcement about a week or two ago, I think it was now, that I'm going to start doing, with the first Tuesday in August, I'm going to be doing something that I call Tuesday Night Music, TWO, Tuesday Night Music. And the idea there basically is each Tuesday in August, I'm going to present 2 selections. And it'll be very informal. It's not really going to be a concert kind of type of setting. I'll still kind of talk about the pieces before I play them, as I usually do, but it'll just be two selections, very short, probably no more than 10 minutes tops. So just kind of a way to sort of kind of share some additional music on a more frequent basis, a little easier to put out smaller content more regularly than, say, a longer program. So I thought I'd try it, and we'll try it out for a month or so. If folks seem to like it and respond to it, then maybe that's something that we can kind of go into on a regular basis. Or, you know, it may be such that, like I said, a 5 to 10 minute kind of presentation captures more of an audience or a different audience, and maybe we'll be able to kind of grow this BJ Meyer Music community, which would be awesome. So speaking of that, if you haven't already, if you're on YouTube, again, please make sure that you like this video by giving it a thumbs up. And then also, if you want to make sure, that you see other videos of mine as I put them out, hit the subscribe button. And in particular, if you click on the bell next to the subscribe, you will be alerted every time I upload a video to YouTube. So if you're on Facebook, it's a little easier to kind of get those notifications, but on YouTube, because there's just so much content, hitting that subscribe button will definitely make sure that you are in the loop. But in particular, if you hit the bell, then you'll actually get like a little message on your phone, like a little kind of text message alert that I've uploaded something new or something like that. And if you're a first-time visitor, there is a lot of content already on the YouTube channel, some previous concerts as well as some music that hasn't been played in a little while. So check that out. I also have a website, bjmeyermusic.com. Check that out. If at the end of this program, if you liked it and you want to make like a little $1 donation or $2 donation, that'd be fantastic. This is how I make my living these days, so that would be awesome. You certainly don't have to. You're not compelled to. I'm happy to put these videos out free of charge. But if you have the means and you'd like to contribute and make a little one-time donation, go over to bjmeyermusic.com and click on the donation link, and you'll be able to get some information on that. So my final selection for this afternoon is a hymn tune arrangement. It is Praise to the Lord the Almighty. This is a German hymn. Wonderful text, and the melody is great, so a lot of church composers tend to go to it and kind of give it their own treatment. And so in this arrangement, what I do is I begin kind of boldly with a trumpet fanfare, and then set that up with kind of a syncopated or rhythmic accompaniment pattern in the right hand, and then you can hear the melody in the left hand in that trumpet voice, so it should kind of come through. You'll be able to kind of hear that, tell what that is. And the first two lines, if you will, or the first two phrases of the melody for this hymn are rhythmically and note for note exactly the same. So the first part will kind of sound alike, but the middle section, or that third phrase, is different melody, and so therefore I get away from that kind of syncopated figure and go to a little more of a traditional accompaniment figure, or a traditional harmonization, if you will. At the end of this first iteration, rather than just kind of stopping and doing a development, I immediately go into a call and response with the upper and the lower and the upper parts, kind of as if they're in a dialogue to each other. And then that sets up a modulation or a key change for the last and final iteration. We're in a new key. We started in C major, now we go to D major, and so the tempo slows down a bit, and we get more of what we would call a freer harmonization. Not necessarily modern harmony, but just the harmony is not typical of the way we sing it, in our songbooks and that sort of thing. So that's where kind of the organist gets to shine, at least in this arrangement. There's more footwork to do. The pedal work, it's a little more fancy, if you will. I'm a big fan of pedal melodies, and so there's a lot of that here. And then the ending, if you will, it builds and it builds. But the ending, once again, rather than just kind of ending on a chord, I tease this out a little bit by going through a couple of different tone centers. We go into one key, and the pedal quotes the first two bars of the melody, and then we go into another key, and the right hand quotes a few bars of the melody, and then we go into yet another or a third key, and the pedal quotes the melody again, before finally ending on a big D major chord, that home key for this last section, with the pedal board taking those first two lines once again in kind of a very slow and dramatic conclusion. So I thought a great way to kind of close out our program. So thank you so much again for joining and being here. And here now is praise to the Lord, the Almighty.